Here's how to win at office politics like Alexander the Great. The first thing you need to know about office politics is that at the start of your career, you're just going to be the pawn on someone else's chessboard. As a junior, that's all you can do. And that was true for Alexander the Great. His own father, who was the king of Macedonia, disowned him at 18. Him and his mother completely disowned them because he wanted to have a more royal wife who was from a higher kind of social status in Macedonia. So he disowned his own wife, Philip, and Alex, who was 18. After Alex had done all this work for him, won in battles, was an amazing son, but because he wasn't from a high enough status, he kind of threw him off the board. And I think that's true for your start of your career. Just know that as hard as you work, you're not owning that board if you're in a big corporate. The only thing that you can do at the start of your career is try to pick the winning team. And that is working on the projects that are going to get the eyes of the senior people and working on those projects that have got leaders who have got track records. You know, that's easier said than done. But if you've got the option, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for those projects that are probably going to be winners, that more likely than not going to have a winner on them. The second thing that Alexander the Great would probably tell you about office politics would be you're never going to have all the pieces, right? Alexander the Great, up till then, they thought any good king, kingdom and powerhouse would have to have both a navy and an army. And about a year into his campaign trying to defeat Persia, he actually completely disbanded his navy. It was full of Greek people who he didn't trust. They were kind of like the untrustworthy people going around. They had kind of backstabbed him multiple times. And so he just disbanded his whole navy, which up till then, everyone was like, no, there's no chance that you can become a powerhouse, a world-dominating powerhouse without a navy. This is very early on, and he proved that you could. It's really important that you understand that you'll never have all your pieces on the board. You know, one of the most strategic people in the world had limited resources himself. And for me, in my own career, I remember that I used to get so frustrated that my team was completely understaffed. We probably needed like 2 or 3 more people in a team of 10. And that completely soured my mood. I was always kind of a bit negative on senior management because they weren't giving me my whole team and I wasn't able to execute at the level that I wanted to execute at. That was silly. No point in worrying. You should just use the resources you have and kind of trust them and go along with that. The third piece of advice that Alexander the Great would have had was to always give your enemies an out. Give them a way to always save face. As the Macedonian king who took over the Greek world, the Athenians consistently backstabbed him. They consistently deceived him, consistently tried to work with Persia to kind of take out the Macedonian kingdom. Horrible, horrible backstabbing. But what he realized was you only give your enemies an out too for the greater good of yourself. He needed the Athenians at the start for their navy because Macedonia obviously would never have a navy or didn't have a navy. He needed the Athenians for that. So he constantly gave them outs of ways that they would not be as embarrassed or lose face even though they'd done something completely horrible. Always look, no matter who it is, you're never looking for the full kill in corporate politics. You're never looking to completely embarrass your enemies. Always give them some out because especially if you need them to keep progressing. And as long as they're in the organization, there's a good chance that you will need them to progress. The next piece of advice Alexander would probably give would be never get into sieges. And the way Alexander, took over most of Asia Minor and Asia and had a massive empire in such a short amount of time, it's like 5 years. And one of the ways he did that and moved so quick was he never had sieges. He never tried to grind out the competition. He never dilly-dallied in sieging cities. He'd either take them by force and take them quick or move on. And that's what you've got to do in business as well. Got to work out, never get yourself on the projects that are moving slow, that are full of meetings. You got to try to work as fast as possible. The other thing is, you got to work out what are the high value tasks. I remember when I was working on a project and one of the partners that we had to partner with they were another company. The way they were doing measurement was completely wrong. And for me, I wanted to get in there and completely uphaul it and kind of have us do measurement. But that was a complete waste of time for me and a complete waste of what the goal of our company was trying to reach. So never get yourself involved in those time-sucky projects. And then it ended up being a massive time suck because I was going back and forth with these people, media agency, and it was just a complete waste of time. That would be the 4 pieces of advice from Alexander the Great on toxic office politics.